Welcome! In this explainer, we are going to unpack a really powerful framework called the Alpha Advantage. It's a simple but honestly pretty profound idea. In this age of AI, it's your disciplined behavior that's way more valuable than any tool you could ever use.
So let's just dive right in with the big question that's probably on your mind, right? As all this technology gets smarter and smarter, how do you stay essential? How do you make sure you don't become just another commodity in a world full of really intelligent tools?
Well, the answer, according to this framework, all comes down to a concept called alpha. Just think of it as your unique professional signature. You know, that special sauce, that mix of your judgment, your taste, your perspective, that no AI can ever truly copy. That is your defensible value. But here's the twist. The very tools we're told we have to embrace, like AI, can actually cause us to accidentally leak that alpha. We end up trading our unique value for a little bit of speed and convenience, and believe me, that is a dangerous bargain to make.
This brings us right to the first very common mistake that professionals are making, which the framework calls the AI answer machine trap.
So the trap is pretty simple, actually. It goes like this. You feed AI a short, kind of low-effort prompt, it spits back a generic, predictable answer, and you're left with commoditized advice that sounds just like everyone else's. You're basically using one of the most powerful tools ever created, like a slightly better search engine. And that leads to this really crucial warning from the source material. If AI is making you sound replaceable, you're not using a bad tool, you're just using a bad process. Simple as that.
So, how do we fix this? Let's look at the reframe. How do we stop leaking our alpha and instead actually use AI to amplify it? Here is the fundamental truth about AI you have to get. It's not some magic creator, it's an amplifier. If you have a weak system, a weak point of view, AI is just going to make that painfully obvious. But if you have a strong point of view and really clear standards, AI will scale them like crazy.
This slide just perfectly illustrates that mindset shift. We have got to stop treating AI like an answer machine that's there to finish our work. Instead, we have to start treating it like a thinking partner. Its job isn't to create for you, it's to challenge your logic, to help you improve your structure, and to help you find greater clarity with you.
Now, to make this really practical, the framework suggests this super simple 5-minute exercise. First, just pick one recurring task, something like preparing for a client meeting. Second, set your standard. Actually write down what good looks like, in your own words. And third, program the AI. You feed it your standard, and then you ask it to challenge your thinking, not to complete the work for you. You're basically teaching the AI your own unique judgment.
And you can track your progress with this simple scorecard. Are you in the red, getting output that you would never, ever say to a client? Or are you in the yellow, where the output is fine but super generic? The goal is to get to green, where the AI is actively reflecting and improving your own judgment. The framework suggests just aiming for one green use week a week to start building this new habit.
Okay, so we've talked about how to use our tools, but what about when we just feel uncertain, when we don't even know how to act at all? This brings us to the second half of the framework, what it calls the myth of clarity.
See, most of us have been trained to believe this lie, that we need a perfect plan, that we need total clarity before we can take any action. So what do? We wait. We wait for permission, we wait for the perfect moment to finally move. But all this waiting has a huge cost. It leads to hesitation, to strategic paralysis. And while you're sitting there waiting for certainty, your competitors are moving, and your professional alpha is just leaking away with every single moment you stand still. So the framework flips this entire idea completely on its head with a really powerful and kind of counterintuitive principle, the Disorientation Advantage.
This right here is the core truth of it. Action creates clarity. It's not the other way around. See, clarity isn't something you wait for. It's a byproduct of movement. Taking action is what generates the data, the insight, and the direction that you've been looking for all along.
And this completely reframes that feeling of being lost. That feeling of disorientation, it's not failure. It's actually the signal that you finally stepped off someone else's scripted path and you're about to create your own. This is the starting point of real leadership.
And hey, just like with the AI trap, there's a simple exercise to install this new behavior. So when you feel that disorientation, first, just name the discomfort. Put a word to it. Second, identify the scripture breaking. Whose safe path are you stepping off of? And third, take one small directional action. Just one move that fights that powerful instinct to avoid the uncertainty.
And again, you can score yourself.
Red is waiting for clarity before acting. Yellow is thinking about acting but kind of hedging your language. But green, that's the goal. Acting while you're uncertain and learning as you're in motion.
So let's bring both of these ideas together now, because they point to a single, unifying insight about where professional value really comes from.
This is the key takeaway of the entire framework. AI doesn't create your value. Your installed behaviors do. It's your discipline to use your tools correctly, and it's your courage to act in the face of uncertainty. That's what makes you valuable.
And this really all comes down to the difference between output and outcomes. See, anyone can use AI to generate more output, more stuff, more content, but true professionals are accountable for outcomes, for delivering real results, and for building trust. And that is always, always a behavioral choice, not a technical one.
So ultimately, your real defensible alpha doesn't live in your software. It lives in your behavior. It's your judgment, it's your standards, and it's your willingness to move forward, especially when the path isn't clear at all.
And that leaves us with one final provocative question. Your tools are getting smarter every single day. The only question is your behavior?